going on, everybody? How y'all doing out there, my good people? Before we get into it, what I want you to do, I want you to take your time out right now. I want you to like, comment, subscribe, and share, man. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. All you got to do, go underneath the bottom, tap that bell, and we get right into it. So today, I got a story for you. I haven't done a story in a little while. Talk about something that I get asked about a lot, because before I was a deputy sheriff, I was a hospital officer. I was a hospital police, so in Ohio. And then before I was hospital police, I was a corrections officer. I started off my law enforcement career as a corrections officer in an adult prison system, the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction. Actually, I learned a lot in there. Wasn't there that long, but I was there long enough to realize that this is a career field and a career path that I wanted to do. And being a corrections officer in law enforcement, I believe, you cut your teeth as we like to say, cut your teeth. You learn how to do the job. You cut your teeth in that industry by learning how to communicate with people, because as a CO, as a corrections officer, you are grossly outnumbered, and you don't really have the same tools on the tool belt that you would have on the street as a law enforcement officer. Typically no taser, depending on the level of the institution, no baton, definitely no firearm inside the wall. It's just a lot of different things, man. And then there's a limited confined space that you can go. If you work in a housing unit, you can't just run out of the housing unit. You have to be like released out of there. So, like I said, it's a lot of different things to take into account. It's a community, just like a community on the street. And I like to say too that everything that you can find in the institution, you can definitely find it on the street. Everything you can find on the street, you can find in an institution. There are, believe it or not, there are hookers, there are drugs, there's all kind of stuff. And those are different stories we can talk about later. But today, the story that I'm gonna talk about, because this is something that people ask about a lot, and they always ask about booty bandits. Now, me personally, being a corrections officer, my exposure to that aspect of that world was not the same as somebody who would be locked up for obvious reasons. But I personally have never encountered anyone in the act of committing um, a rape, aggressive rape, any type of sexual assault or anything like that. Luckily, fortunately, because um, I mean, I've heard stories, man. Them type of things can traumatize a brother, man. You know what I mean? So, but I did get a chance to know and learn the reputations of a lot of people um, that um, I was working around. A lot of different killers, the drug dealers, the gangbangers, and even the booty bandits, man. And there was one booty bandit in particular that I remember. Dude, they used to call him Bobcat. I can't remember what his real name was, but he used to go by the name Bobcat. And dude was apparently, from all intents and purposes, his reputation, dude was a savage. Um, I guess his modus operandi, man, was he used to wait in the shower for people. He used to wait by the shower. So I guess like you would take a shower, and while you would have the soaps and suds or whatever being washed off, and then that's when he would scout and find out who's eligible to be a victim. And as they were coming out of the showers, what he would do is he would knock them out cold, knock them clean out, and as they they wouldn't even see it coming, man. They would just get blindsided, knock him out, take him back to wherever he was at, and do what he do. And that is that is that's one booty bandit that stands out in my mind, uh, because like the reason why he stands out is because you hear the stories before going into prison. You hear the stories from other corrections officers, you know, um, about those type of people, but to actually meet one and know how he gets down and kind of have to watch him around certain times of the day or around certain areas of the housing unit. Um, just kind of keep an eye on what he's doing. And yeah, that's and man, for real, like this dude was he was just kind of like I don't want to say he was kind of like cool, but he was just like a regular person, man. To me anyway. You know, I mean, obviously I don't have the same interaction that another inmate would have, but he was like a regular dude. He would he was just kind of like goofy, you know, like he had jokes. You know, he had a sense of humor. He had the jokes. He had little, you know, like little playful personality. You know what I'm saying? So um, you know, it was that's another reason why he would be shocking to me to come off as that type of person because he just didn't seem to give off that type of energy. But like I said, I wasn't an inmate; I was a corrections officer, so he wouldn't display those type of characteristics to me. But aside from that, you know, sexual contact inside of prison, contrary to popular belief, is absolutely against the law. There is actually a law that was signed in place by George W. Bush, um, President George W. Bush 43, in 2004 called PREA. PREA stands for Prison Rape Elimination Act. And, you know, any inmate that is exposed to being propositioned, being touched, all the way up to being aggressively raped, they have the right to report it, even anonymously. There's a whole bunch of numbers and ways for inmates to communicate that, whether it be through you know, phone number, email. Now they can email now, sending messages through kites, the inter-institutional mail system. They can notify a corrections officer. They can notify um, unit management, a whole bunch of different things, man. They can tell anybody really, and not I mean anybody in. Let me rephrase it. Anybody in authority, and um, they can get their I don't want to say their needs met, but they can get their issue addressed. So, and that isn't just something that's for prison that goes down to jails too, and popular to contrary belief too. Um, from my experience, and you'll probably hear this from a lot of ex inmates in the institution, because where I was at, my prison, it wasn't a maximum security prison, like it wasn't like super max or max. It was considered a closed security, which is still high up on the totem pole of danger. It's not a minimum institute. And the other side of the institute, there was two sides. So it was a closed security, and the other side it was medium security. And you know, contrary to popular belief, those to the public, contrary to popular belief, rapes don't really happen as often as people would think because you have people in there that actually give it up, man. Believe it or not, like um, they used to have a term for it. They call it "gay for the stay." Another thing, or you know, "gay for the stay," and they used to say "straight at the gate." Um, another thing, like dudes in the institution, like new inmates, they still sometimes still call them fish. So like new fish, they would go into an institution and they would you know, just be so overwhelmed by that world that, you know, or the ones that's not street smart, they would just end up getting, I guess, finessed, so to speak, out of their dignity, their manhood. But yeah, that happens, man. So, and then other people, man, they just so nervous they end up clicking up with somebody off of straight protection. It's a bunch of different reasons why, you know, that happens, debt, whatever. So it's still against the law. If you get caught, you can still catch a sexual uh, sexual offenders crime and be considered put on a registry, depending on the nature of it. And then what happened in prison, you would have to register for that when you get out in the real world. Crazy, but yeah. So yeah, that's my experience with Booty Bandit. Um, I don't really have any experience with a Booty Bandit. I just remember this one particular guy. There was a few of them I ran across, but I remember this one particular guy just because he was the first one that I met while being a correction officer, and um, how he used to get down in that particular world, and it was shocking to me because like, wow, that was my first exposure to some information like that, and actually knowing who that person was. So, anyways, man, I'll come back and kick y'all some more stories later on. But other than that, you know how we do here at the Great Man Podcast. I want y'all to train hard, train often, train properly, and train safely. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you stay good, stay blessed, stay safe, and peace.